Hello, DGH fans, and welcome to DGH Paranormal Experience, the Ritz Theater. As 2023 comes to a close, the DGH team learns that one of our favorite spots to investigate in Utah may not have already closed its doors to the public, but might be undergoing a sale that would limit its access to paranormal investigators as well. To give the Ritz Theater the proper send-off investigation that it deserves, we call up our close and personal best friends from the EVP Podcast. I was lucky enough to join them on one of their previous podcast episodes, and we did reminisce over our individual investigations at the Ritz Theater and mentioned that a collaboration would be great. If you haven't checked out their podcast previously, please make sure to give them a listen, a like, and a subscribe as well. As we move on into the Ritz Theater, clearly this location has housed some of our most incredible paranormal findings, including the first time that I have seen a shadow figure with my own eyes, our first capture of a shadow figure on camera, and lots of happenings that we simply can't explain. Many of you joined us for the live stream investigation at the end of last year, and during this episode, we will review the terrifying evidence collected during that show. So one of you guys. And of course, what would this show be without EVPs? Lots of EVPs.
Just go tug on his pant leg.
The end. All right, we are your two favorite doctors of the paranormal. That's Dr. Jason. I'm Dr. Chad, and we are joined here in a very special episode. Of course, we have the queens of the paranormal that will add on to the stage here. We have our skeptic, Jamie Ryan, and Miss Sarah. Why don't you guys unmute yourselves and go ahead and say hello.
Hi.
Hey, guys. So we are also joined tonight by a couple of very special guests. We have Ghosty and Beaker from the EVP Podcast. We're going to bring them on here in just a second. Now, this podcast, if you haven't already listened to it, which I'm sure you have, this is the Energy, Vision, and Paranormal Podcast. But Jason, you see what they did with the pun with EVP.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's good. They've just passed their 3-year anniversary of the podcast, over 100 episodes. And to be perfectly honest with you, they have inspired at least my creative thinking when it comes to Dr. Ghost Hunters and both the locations that they talk about and cover, but also seeing how kind of a group of buddies and brothers can have fun and go out and investigate and talk about it as well. And really has helped shape what we are. So let's go ahead and welcome Beaker and Ghosty. Guys, welcome on. Thanks for joining us,
everybody.
Hey, so we're very excited for this episode. As I mentioned in the intro, the Ritz Theater, which we really just started to get some knowledge on last year, became one of our favorite places to investigate. But unfortunately, we got the word of change in ownership, and we weren't really certain that we'd be able to go back. And we're fortunate enough towards the end of last year to investigate with you guys.
Yes.
So what we have for our format, let me kind of tell people what we're going to be looking at here, is we have several clips that I have gone through our evidence of that investigation that many people saw in our live stream here at Dr. Ghost Hunters. And if you didn't see it, make sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss our next live stream investigation event. But I went through those clips, found the best paranormal evidence. We have 3 segments that I'm going to play for everyone. We'll kind of chat about those as we go. And then we have quite a few EVPs, which is not always the norm for us. We've had some in our Arizona road trip, but then we're going to dissect those at the end. And we certainly want all of the viewers and listeners out there to comment on what they think they hear and see as we go along.
Yeah. Please comment in real time. You know, we don't want you to forget anything, and we want to see that as it comes up. Sarah moderates, so she'll post that when it makes sense. So don't worry about posting, just post as it comes to your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, and for people who do post, of course, we have these lovely DGH mugs here that people have been loving. It's the
I want one of those.
Yeah, and perhaps you will get a little care package at the end of this with a sweet Dr. Ghost Hunters mug as well. But for one lucky commenter tonight, we'll make sure to get one shipped out to you as well. All right, so that's kind of the format. That's the who. Jamie and Sarah, we're going to send you guys off as we just about to begin here on our first segment, which is in the smaller theater over in Theater 2. This theater is thought to house portals, and at least our docent and the person that we had rented this out from thought that there was not only a portal, but a specific spirit in the place that we were investigating. A lot of the investigation is dark, but you're going to see we do our best to kind of show you around. Ghosty, you had a real interesting piece of equipment that I would love for you to talk about. You had the traditional spirit box, but you had it in a bit of a bag. Can you tell people about that?
Yeah, that's the Faraday bag, which it works like a microwave, and it completely seals it off from any radio frequencies, so it's only spitting out white noise.
I did notice, as not only we were there investigating, and Jason, you pointed this out as well, but of course, going back through the evidence, it really does seem to filter out. I mean, that standard spirit box that we have as well, we were not getting nearly as much communication through it. And the communication that was there did seem to be in response to what we were seeing. So I really like that. That was a new piece of gear kind of for us. Beaker, you were in this theater as well. Of course, we'll get to this clip here in just a second. You step out at the end, which is going to be important to see at the end of this clip. But you've spent some time in there. Beaker, any thoughts on Theater 2, just as a whole, overall, with paranormal activity?
I can tell you right now, that's not a room I like going in by myself, especially towards the front by the screen. There's just a really weird vibe in that room. I do get some evidence in there, but not a whole lot. I know there's the one chair that I always try to get everybody to sit in without telling them why. Right. But it's just overall, there's just the whole vibe, the whole feel of that room is so different from the rest of the theater.
And that's quite a bit of foreshadowing here for our third segment coming up, where I get placed in that room. And of course, Jamie and Jason, like always, try and stick the ghosts on me. And we're going to see some of that here coming up shortly. All right, guys. Well, that's a good intro. Let's go ahead and jump into our clip here of Theater 2.
All right, say something.
Oh, and that door lantern's going off as well.
What went off?
The lantern. The lantern.
What movie do you want to watch?
Boy, every time you talk, it goes off. Wow, there it goes.
K2's going too.
Both of them.
Can you tell us your name?
You know, it's so interesting. There's been so many times when we've asked a question and one of the EMF detectors goes, I don't understand why.
Do you have a favorite color?
Somebody said something.
Uh-huh. I heard it say something.
It said something.
Can you say the favorite color again, please?
K2's going crazy too.
Is orange your favorite color? Yeah, you're trying to talk.
Could you use this device right here to try to talk to us? There's a database with words that you can pull from.
Do you like playing with the lights? Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Oh, what does it say?
I can't make it out. I'm just trying to answer. Are there 7 spirits in here? I think I try to talk again.
You're doing a great job with the green and the yellow. Can you make it go all the way to red? Just go touch all those lights for us. Keep pushing them, you're almost there.
It said something. There it goes.
There you go, you got it to red. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that. Keep pushing them, you're almost there.
It said something.
Remember, there's one right here too. You want to see if you can get that to light up too?
Stop it.
I thought I heard no.
I heard no too.
I said stop it.
You want to do an essays right in here, right now?
Sure. Wait, do I want to? Is that what you're asking?
I'll do it.
No, Hey, you're
We're good? Okay, so we're still setting up for the essays, but check this out. We have the K2 up on the stage in Theater 1, and we reset it. Like when I left a little bit ago, we had reset the REM pod, and it's just going berserk. You can hear it. See the stage. Let's see if I can get a light on this. And we do have this camcorder rolling, so if something walked up there, it'll catch it. But it's just going nuts. I even reset it and turned down the sensitivity when I came over here on this REM pod. Is there someone up here on the stage? Okay, so there's our first segment. I want to bring on Jamie and Sarah. Jamie, you were sitting right in that spot. It was a little bit difficult to see with the lighting. I didn't want to blind you. Obviously, that's a condensed clip of what we had when we were there. Do you recall feeling anything or having anything abnormal occur to you when you were sitting in that chair?
No, I didn't. I was paying very close attention to everything and just kind of, it was really dark room, so it was easy to just kind of like close my eyes and nothing. I didn't feel anything, any changes in the environment or anything.
And that's not out of the ordinary for you, but certainly with those pieces of equipment going off, it's always good to check because one of these days, the answer will be yes.
Okay.
All right, ladies. So let's bring on Ghosty and Beaker. So I've got a lot of questions for you guys. So let's start back at the beginning. Have you guys ever seen or ever had an episode where your voice seemed to trigger EMF activity? That was bizarre for us.
Yeah.
I've had situations where somebody talking specifically does get responses, but I do remember that in particular, we weren't getting many responses until you guys got in there and then sat down and then your equipment was up. And then that's when a lot of the things started happening.
Yeah, interesting. In the spirit box, there was a time, and it got clipped out because we couldn't hear it well just on my camera. But we mentioned, are there 7 spirits in there? There was a part when we did get a response from the spirit box trying to figure out how many people were there. We just couldn't hear it well, so I edited it out. But the spirit box did have a couple of seemingly quite direct responses, which was impressive.
Yeah, and the K2 and the Paralamp seemed to respond fairly
Yeah, they were
consistently.
going off quite a bit in there that night.
Yeah.
They did. There was the one piece, and I think the best that we could hear the spirit box come through was that piece where both the K2 and the Paralamp went off right afterwards.
Yeah.
Beaker, I'm with you at the very end when the spirit box said stop it. To me, that was clear as day. And that's actually where we did wrap up that piece of the investigation is after that, in kind of out of respect for that. Any other feelings or any thoughts that you had on that clip, Beaker?
No, honestly, I was looking at Ghosty and I'm like, I don't remember this at all. But no, I do. I kind of remember that. Just watching that clip again. I mean, you hear me say stop it right after the spirit box did. So I mean, that was very clear, and I'm kind of with you on that. Like it felt like the spirit was just kind of done communicating at that point. So I think with turning off the spirit box was the right call at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of it, to your defense, Beaker, the reason why you may not remember it, that was probably a 20 to 30 minute clip that we had, if I remember correctly. And part of the time you were actually over in Theater 1 and you brought to my attention that the REM pod had been going off.
Yeah, I'm the one that pointed that out. I don't remember if we debunked that or not, though. So I know, like my REM pod and the battery's going low, it will do that.
We're going to see that coming up here in just a moment. At the time, we thought it was quite abnormal, but one of the good things about evidence review, and one of the things we try and do on this show, is when that happens, is to point it out. And you're exactly right. We think in retrospect that it was a battery issue.
Yep.
So that was a little dip of the toe in the water, so to speak, as far as the paranormal activity goes. Let's go ahead and move on. We hinted at an S-Day session at the end of that. Let's go ahead and jump into that now.
Maybe Star Wars.
Turn around. Get along there.
You want us to leave, or are you waiting for the movie to start?
Happy now. The end.
Movie's over? What movie were you watching, Tim?
Who came up?
Who came up? There's 3 of us here. I'm Jason.
Oh, it sounded like you just said my name, Chad.
Do you remember Chad from the last time we were out here about a month ago?
My leg either just twitched or something just touched my left leg.
So Tim, you went over and touched Chad's leg. You go touch that lantern that has kind of that pink purple light to it.
Surely.
Great. Go touch it and you'll see it'll light up to purple and blue. Do is barely touch it.
Right there. Great.
They are right there. Just go over and touch them. Light those up. Looks like you might be touching that green light.
First shot. Right.
Are you to the
Okay.
right of Chad? You sitting right next to him?
Wow.
Last time we were in here, you were able to touch those green lights and turn them all the way to red.
What did it say?
You know what Chad does for work?
Legend.
He is kind of a legend. Don't tell him that, though. Might go to his head.
All right, Jason, let's start with you. Obviously, a much longer segment that we were doing the S-Day session. Condensed that down quite a bit. You were asking the questions, but I think Ghosty was there with you. Thoughts on what you just saw?
Well, first of all, I think you have an admirer in the spirit world. It's not the first time you've been physically, potentially, touched or had your leg pulled or pants pulled. So I think you've got someone on the other side.
Seems to happen with a little more regularity these days.
Yeah. I do want to ask you more about that. You said you felt like something either pulled on your pant leg, or do you think that was more of a muscle twitch, or do you remember?
I don't remember it. And I recalled this from one of our investigations to the Hotel Tombstone, right? That in the moment, it wasn't as drastic as my shirt being pulled when we were at Bethany's Home Sweet Haunted Home.
Mm-hmm.
But I say it that if I'm feeling anything, I would prefer it to be evidence if it was in conjunction with something else going on at the same time that I just didn't know was happening.
Sure.
So I feel to call it out, not expecting to say like, hey, this is documented evidence, because it's not. There's nothing objective about that. But that's kind of just seeing it in context and retrospect.
Sure. So kind of an independent assessment or reading or something. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But we did get some fairly direct responses, so I thought that it was a decent S-Day session.
Yeah, it was. I'm real curious for the guys. I don't think we talked about this when we were there. What are your guys'
we
thoughts
didn't.
No.
on
So Ghosty
that?
actually saw something in that clip that he wants to share with you right now.
Oh,
So it was funny. I told him right when it happened, but I was seeing something. So you know those smile now, cry later masks. It's kind of what I saw floating in your direct towards you, and right as it touched you, is when you said something touched my leg, and then I hit him and I told him what I was just seeing, but that was pretty interesting.
Can we rewind and see?
I maybe during the next clip I'll see if I can.
I don't know if I mean I don't know if you can see it with your eyes, but you know how when we were talking about in your third eye.
Okay.
But remember when we talked about the shadow figure that we saw there? It's not more like a shadow, it's more like a reverse shadow.
Right.
Same thing, the way I saw that that mask kind of floating towards you. It was big. It was like the same size as you. And it was just kind of floating. And as soon as it touched you, it is right when you said it.
Wow. And to be clear for everyone watching this, I had not sent you guys these clips. You haven't
No.
seen any of this footage. And this was
This
coming
is all
off
brand new to us.
my camera. Wow. And that, like, it's that purpose why I call those things out. So that's spot on for that. Interesting. Ghosty, I didn't expect you to say it. And honestly, I was going to ask Beaker kind of the same sort of question. Like, did you get a sense of anything going on there as you're listening to that S-Day session?
Honestly, I was just kind of watching the comments. I just want to touch on Paul's question real quick on the spirit box where it said stop it. He was wondering, like, is it possible that it was a spirit saying it to like another spirit telling someone else to stop it? You know what I mean?
Oh,
Paul's actually a friend of ours. I've done so many investigations with him. So, I mean, that's another possibility with that spirit box. But as far as that clip goes, I mean, there was a couple times where I thought I saw someone standing like behind you, a couple rows up.
It wouldn't surprise me. You know, that wouldn't be the first time inside of that particular theater where I have felt a presence there. And again, foreshadowing for the next clip, we're going to see some of that where you see me react as if something is standing behind me. Yeah, interesting. S-Day sessions, just big picture though. Do you guys buy into them? Do you not? What are your thoughts there?
We like it. We were
love it.
actually doing one upstairs at the same time you were doing that.
Oh, no
I think
kidding.
that video
Okay.
clip I sent you, I think it was going on about the same time that you were doing your SS method. We were up in the projection room. I know I didn't get a chance to cut some of my audio from that, but we did have some responses on our sessions that we did. We swapped, so we usually let like Ghosty go first in the SS method, and then we swap, and then I go. And in our sessions, we both actually got the same name. Steven came through for both of us.
It's we do like it, and we tend to try to do that in most of them. It does take out one element of bias, and I think that even Jason and I, we talk a lot about bias just with our day jobs and how it can impact some of the things that we see. But the S-Day session can eliminate at least a small piece of that, right? When we don't know what's going on outside of us. So
Right.
So
you get more focus on what you can hear so you can say it more than what's going on around you.
So speaking of not knowing what's going on around you, in our session, I had the blindfold on, I had the headphones on, and when we started, it was just Ghost and myself in the room. Now, DVO had walked in at one point, and I had no idea. And I kind of heard some footsteps, and in the audio, you can hear me say, "Did you just move?" And I pulled my headphones off so I could hear if he was responding, and he's like, "No." And I'm like, "Okay," and I put the headphone back on. And then when he continued listening to the audio, he's just like, "Well, no," because it wasn't him that moved; it was his brother. And what's interesting is when DVO first walked in the room, you can hear me say "leave," and then after I asked, if he moved, and he said no, it says I say "friends, don't leave," and I.
Oh no, he may have frozen, or we may have frozen. As we get him back, let's hold that thought though with Beaker. Paul Welch asks a question down below. Let's go ahead and pull these guys off here just for a second while their internet catches up. Paul Welch asks a great question. Now, Paul is a guy that, I'll be honest, I follow on all social medias, and he is someone that I've been watching investigate for a while too. So Paul, welcome, and thanks for tuning in. Ever try asking questions to an empty room remotely via walkie-talkie or Bluetooth? You know, we've thought about that. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons that we had our Bluetooth headphones was to be able to do that, but I don't think we've ever executed it. No. And perhaps for our upcoming investigation that we have, that's something that we could look at, but we just haven't done that yet. Yeah, I like that a lot. The more that you can eliminate any surrounding factors, then why not do it? Yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea. Great question, Paul, and great suggestion. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this off. Jamie and Sarah, guys, thoughts here on this? I know you guys weren't in the room at this time, but do you have any thoughts on what you just saw with that S-Day session? Anything stand out to you?
Actually, I was in the room during your S-Days.
Oh, you were? Okay, I apologize.
But I wasn't asking questions. And the one thing that we talked about after was that when you were in the room and asking, or like doing the S-Days, the lantern and the K2 meters were not going off as often as when I was sitting in the room. That was just something that we took note of at the time. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember yours going off. I don't remember that because honestly, with it being a little bit obstructed with my S-Day session, I couldn't see it, but I will concur that during that entire clip, I don't recall it going off at all, or else I think I would have added it there. Yeah. People like the colors. No, I like the colors. Give me some colors. I think I get that from my dad. He loves those colors going off. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll into our final clip. Jamie, Jason, you guys don't know what's coming, but you guys have anything to say for yourselves before we start?
About what? I don't know what's coming.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I felt great.
You have an admirer, that's what.
When Beaker said he could see or feel someone standing right behind me, I just wonder why that would happen. All right, we got the guys back. They're in the background. Let's go ahead and play our next clip.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Can you see if you can get that to work? And if you do, just tell me, but not when the camera's watching. Oh, because I already said it didn't work.
All right. Yeah.
I'm ashamed of it. I'll just sit here. If you can make sure. Hey, Jamie. Oh, no. Turn around real quick. I'm going to sit in here. Did you get the REM pod working?
Yeah.
Actually, I'll use it.
You want it?
Thank you, Sarah.
Beep.
It's a new REM pod. I'm going to set this up. This is my light. I'll have this on here just in case anything wants to creep up behind me. We'll be in good shape. Jamie, you got a walkie?
Sure. Yep.
It just says
True. Something will sneak up behind him.
Jason, can you see me in the IR?
Yes.
Okay.
So, are there any spirits up here with us?
If you want to communicate with us, you can touch that purple pinkish light. It'll turn purple and blue. That way we'll know you're here. Or if you want to have some real fun, Chad's down in theater 2 in the dark.
All by himself.
Just go tug on his pant leg, pull on his shirt.
Just to let him know that you're there.
My friends Janie and Jason are upstairs. Can you go up there and maybe give one of them a
go play a game with them and let them know that you're here. Play a trick on them.
So it looked like that light flickered a little bit. Is there someone up here playing with that light? There it is again. Good job. It's got, I think, 5 or 6 levels. So if you want to go really touch that light, it'll light up. I think it's multiple colors, isn't it, James?
Yeah, it's all the rainbow.
Let's just go over there and touch that light. Okay, so I'm going to set up a spirit box too. If you want to talk, you can go talk right in the phone.
It sounded like that supported punk.
Supported punk. You're talking about Chad?
There we go. There's some activity.
So you're playing with that light. You can see it turn blue. I don't understand what that was.
Mm-hmm. Hello.
That was
I don't know. I think so.
Looks like a few people are seeing orbs.
Really? On the phone.
I can hear you behind me.
Spirits in the room with us? Sounded like there were a couple of different voices on the spirit box.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm just freaking myself out, but I can hear movement behind me. It feels like there's someone right behind me.
Is someone down there messing with Chad or hanging out with him?
Which we totally encourage, by the way.
Yes, 100%. Do you want to go give Chad a hug while you're down there? I think he's getting used to the idea. Yeah, you do? Do you want to go give Chad a hug while you're down there? I think he's getting used to the idea. Will you light that up again if you want to give him a hug? Yes. Okay. He's down in the front. He'll let us know you did it.
He might be a little cold in that theater, so if you go give him a hug, it might warm him up.
Okay, so there's a whole lot to digest in that one. Let's take the EVPs and we'll put it off to the side. Now, first of all, great question by Paul. The app that we were using for that spirit box in particular was GhostTube.
Mm-hmm.
That was the app. And so it is different than the spirit box that we had earlier. We're always a little bit skeptical about it. And so again, the timing and other things as well. But that's the one that he had on his phone. Certainly as an aside, if people do have their favorite spirit boxes that they like, they feel that they're more reliable, please post them in the comments. We are very open to exploring new spirit boxes. Yep. First, I want to bring on, before we bring the guys back on, Jamie and Sarah. Sarah, my lovely wife. Thanks for fixing the REM pod, honey. Come to find out the battery, like the 2 prongs on the 9-volt, they have to go into the spot where it has 2 prongs.
Yeah. Crazy.
Shocking.
It's a wicked form of science that they didn't teach me in med school.
Yeah.
So Sarah, I appreciate that. Jamie, you and Jason, again, back to your old antics, and very similar to what we had last September.
We didn't
where
want you to
you
be
guys
lonely.
were upstairs and I was in the theater. Those cameras were synced. And I'm going to ask the guys here in just a second about the orbs. But boy, the timing of those events, it's just really hard to dismiss that.
Yeah. Where you're in a completely separate room. You point.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
You have some response. You notice something.
It's pitch black in there for me.
Yeah.
Like we showed that at the beginning. It was pitch black.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jamie, let's take the EVPs aside. Does what you just saw move the needle for you?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Bye, ladies. Okay, so let's bring the guys back on with the clip. We're going to go over the EVPs more here in the next segment, but I'm really curious on your thoughts on orbs in particular. We are not big orb people. There is a lot of dust in that place. There's a lot of asbestos coming down, but the timing of that to me seemed interesting. What are your guys' thoughts, not only on orbs, but also what you just saw with whatever those were?
Orbs are garbage.
Yeah, not a big fan of orbs, but I am a fan of like the light anomalies.
I've seen like orbs with my own eyes, not on video, which is
Yes.
really cool experience. What I thought was interesting is that first orb right before it came down. I looked over at Ghosty and I pointed at the screen about like the row behind you, and right as I pointed at the screen is when that orb came down.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And I've heard you guys talk on your show quite a bit about orbs, so I suspected that that would be your response. I don't recall seeing anything visually in that theater, but it was interesting those 2 times that I turned around. As I go back through evidence review, those were the only 2 times that I had turned around, but they also happen to be related with, I don't know whether to call them orbs or light anomalies. I couldn't see them with my eyes, so maybe they're orbs. But there's that component. There were also others that just seemed really odd. There was one off in the bottom left, and people can go back and rewatch this, that I had an arrow almost pointed to the seat. The odd thing to me about that one, there were only 2 frames that it was visible, and it doesn't drop in from anywhere. It simply appears, it moves to the left, and then it's gone. And, maybe my camera speed just isn't fast enough to be able to catch, an insect or a bug or whatever that was, but it seemed to fit the curiosity of those things. I want to shift slightly to the spirit box. Do you guys use any apps on your phone? I know I've heard you talk about apps on your show. Apps, we try to be skeptical.
The one app we use is the Echo Box.
Yeah, we do use Echo Box, especially when we're doing the SS method.
That's what we need to incorporate.
That's actually, if it wasn't for Paul, I wouldn't know about the Echo
Yeah.
Box. He's the one that told
Paul's
us
the one
about
that,
it.
yeah, and gave it to us all.
I do have like the Ghost Box, the Ghost Fox, or whatever. All 3 of those apps made by the same company, the SLS camera. They're great for first timers when you're trying to put on a show for somebody. If you're like hosting a public investigation, they're great for that. Just so people can have that instant gratification. But for serious investigators, most apps are, especially the free apps, are designed to just give you random things so you can have that experience.
Yeah, and that everything you say makes sense. And this is great. This is the great thing about having community, right, in the paranormal field, so that we can talk about these things and learn and grow.
The other app that I use that is no longer available, this is another one that Paul told me about, is the Geophone app. It was called Geophone Free. I still have it because I got it before they discontinued it. But all the Geophone does is senses vibration. So that's why I use that app, because that's all it will do. And you actually have to either hit the surface near your phone or the phone itself to set that off. It's not something that's just randomly triggered. So the Echo Box and the Geophone Free are my like 2 go-to apps that I will stand by. The rest of them I feel are kind of more for show.
I see. Elsie comments here. She's the owner of Bethany's Home Sweet Haunted Home. The Necrophonic app. I remember us using that in her basement, and that's where my name got called out. I don't know how to answer that. I guess I don't know how to answer that.
Is it something that has kind of like that reverb that you guys had on that one spirit box that we were trying to mess with?
I believe it does have some reverb on there.
Yeah,
Jamie's coming through some knowledge.
Oh,
on
I
that.
was
You
just gonna
remember
say,
that one because you were in the basement
yeah,
with us there. Yeah. And that's the one that honestly freaked me out a little bit when we were in their basement, that called my name several times by like different sounding voices. The name part, and Beaker, I wanted to ask you about this earlier when I was doing the S days and heard my name called. Do you take anything from that? I have seen this a pattern with me, either when I do S days or if Jason, you're doing it, that my name does seem to get called. I would think that Chad wouldn't be a common radio station thing that gets said or through the box. Do you take anything from that?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know a lot of radio stations are going to be saying the word Chad. And it's very possible, especially if you're getting it over and over again in multiple locations across the country. You know what I mean? What are the odds that all these radio stations across the country are going to have something coming through saying Chad, especially if you had it in the Faraday box or the bag? If you were using that at the time, that would eliminate pretty much any possibility of actual radio frequency getting through there. So that just makes it even more legit that that's what you heard.
Yeah, that's great.
So I've heard my name come through the Echo Box before. I've heard it come through the Spirit Box. I believe Ghosty has as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've heard our names come through, and like I've been using the Echo Box before on a investigation. I actually have a clip of this on my old YouTube for my old paranormal team. It said Castle, which was the name of our lead investigator, and that's for sure not something you're going to be hearing on, a radio station.
Yeah,
right. No, that does add another element to really solidify that as a piece of evidence, I believe. Okay, so some interesting things that we just saw there. Guys, any final comments on that clip before we move into our EVPs?
Yeah, so when you pointed out the fact that you felt like someone was, I can hear you behind me or whatever you said.
Yeah.
Right before you said that in the clip, I actually pointed to Ghosty and I said, there's someone sitting 2 seats behind him. And then right after I pointed that out, that's when you said, I can hear you behind me. So there was definitely a spirit behind you.
I would fully believe it, because sitting in that dark room, like I said, there were 2 times that I turned around, and it's not because I saw something, just hearing it. That totally validates that for me.
And then on the stuff upstairs in the projection room and that little doorway there to the office, there was a spirit standing in that doorway as well.
I see. Perhaps where some of those EVPs came into play.
Yes.
Yeah. Huh. Well, let's move into those EVPs here. I'm going to keep us on the screen for this. So what we have set up here, or 4 or 5 EVPs, we got a spirit box, and then we've got a video clip here at the end. Each of these is going to repeat a couple of times. And not only do I want to get your guys' opinion, if you can hear anything or if you think they are real, but also from the viewers, whether you're here with us live or you're watching this afterwards, please make sure to comment on what you think you hear. Let's go ahead and get into those now. Jason, you gonna say you need some caffeine? You doing all right?
I'm doing all right.
Usually I'm the one who's asleep at this hour. We're going strong, baby.
Chad's down in theater 2 in the dark.
All by himself.
Just go tug on his pant leg, pull on his shirt. Just go tug on his pant leg, pull on his shirt. Just go tug on his pant leg, pull on his.
The microphone works better if you take yourself off mute. There's the first EVP that's there. I think I hear something. I cannot for the life of me make it out. Jason, do you hear?
I can't make out what it says. I can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear the woman's voice. I cannot put the words together.
So that's actually an EVP I sent you. That was from my audio recorder that I just left up in the projection room. So it's very quiet. There's actually a male's voice in there as well. It's very quiet when you ask if there's anyone up here with us. There's a male's voice that says yes in response to you. And then when you say go tug on his leg or whatever it was, there is a female's voice. I don't remember what it says though. I'm trying to see if I have text messages from my friend that actually can hear EVPs a lot better than me. But there was definitely 2 voices that I heard in that clip.
Yeah, for me as well. And the second one almost sounds like it's just coming in like as your voice is ending. So it makes it a little bit tricky to decipher that. But interesting. And you didn't recall hearing anything in real time, not like a disembodied voice,
No,
more
not
so
in
just
real
a
time.
true EVP. Jamie came to me afterwards. They lost connection, so we don't need to bring her on here. But she's like, hey, there's something up there. And she, again, felt very strongly, just off camera, that something was going on. Oh, you got connection back. Ladies, time to move on to the next clip. All right. All serious, here comes EVP number 2.
I'm on the phone.
So that one, I think right there at the very beginning of that, almost, I can't even begin to explain it. Do you guys hear it?
I can hear it, but it's another woman's voice, but I can't make it
Yeah,
out.
I don't know what it's saying.
Yeah. Okay. So I would feel the same, almost perhaps in a similar tone to the woman's voices before, but again, just difficult to make out. Yeah. Let's go on to number 3. Maybe.
That's a good one.
Do you want to go?
Yeah.
Give Chad a hug while you're down there. I think he's getting used to the idea. Do you want to go give Chad a hug while you're down there? I think he's getting used to the idea.
Again, something in the background sounds more male to me than anything else.
Yeah, it's a male's voice. It sounds something like chew me.
I'm pretty sure that was a dinosaur. No, there was a voice there. I can't make out what it was saying though.
Yeah, chew me. I don't know.
That
I
would
like
be a weird
that.
thing for someone to say.
That is weird, but I can't think of what it says.
That would be
But
awesome.
definitely, there is something there.
Oh, now wait a
Sounds like
second.
chew me.
Now, with our previous, let's bring on Sarah. I don't know. She just messaged me. I don't think she's kidding about this, but Sarah, do you want to debunk one of those perhaps?
Not the one we just heard, but the previous one we were talking. I think that sounds like Jamie.
Jamie, do you think you would be whispering up there though?
It was not whispering. That was not a whisper. That was not a whisper.
I think I may have been like mumbling under my breath about something. I don't know. That's kind of what it sounded like to me. The second one.
Okay.
But
That was my attempt at a yellow card.
That was
Almost.
your attempt.
But
Okay,
also, we do think that the third one was a dinosaur.
Definitely a dinosaur.
Or possibly
I mean,
Godzilla.
this is the first time documenting here. You've seen it here first. Dr. Ghost Hunters documenting proof of the paranormal dinosaur, our spin-off series coming this summer. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
You're doing a great job with the green and the yellow. Can you make it go all the way to red? Keep pushing them. You're almost there.
It said something.
I think I've slowed it down.
There it goes.
There you go. You got it to red. Good job.
Thank you.
Keep pushing them. You're almost there.
It said something. It said something.
I mean, that last one certainly sounds creepy, going slow. There's definitely a voice there. Anything from you guys?
It almost sounds like that first one we played earlier in the show. It almost sounds like he's saying stop.
I could see that. One syllable quick, just fires it off. Yeah.
I couldn't make that out. It didn't sound like stop to me though.
Or Todd. But no, to me it sounded like it said stop.
Stop. Okay. Let's continue on. I think we have another one or two here.
Have a color you like?
Oh, this Let me set this one up. We may have to rewind it just a touch. This was actually in the very beginning of our investigation. We were all in the main theater 1. I didn't have much video, and with it being dark in there just wasn't a whole lot to show. But this really stood out to me. I just didn't have enough around it to make into its own segment. Let me see if I can draw this back just a touch and start this again.
Have a color you like?
Is that one of you guys?
No. Have a color you like?
Is that one of you guys?
No. Have a color you
One
like?
last time. Is that one of you guys?
No.
The first time I heard that, I honestly thought that it was one of us talking, whether it was Jason and I or it was one of you guys, but it doesn't make much sense to me, and I can't make out what that would be. Ghosty Beaker, anything?
So that
there?
mumbling noise that we could hear in there, that wasn't people talking?
That's what I can't place as being someone. And I immediately ask afterwards, was that you guys? And the response is no.
Oh, you asked us?
I vaguely remember this.
I was like, to me, it almost sounds like DVO's voice, but
he was there, and he was sitting
if you
down
asked
right
us
there by
and
him.
we said no, then it wasn't.
Yeah, okay. I remember this in the very beginning.
I have
I
a bad
almost
memory.
forgot. I've almost forgot all about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a wild one, kind of a wild card as well. Do you hear it, Jason?
I hear it. I don't know what it says, but I definitely hear it.
And the knock out there, of course, is interesting. The first time we were out there, we were very abruptly interrupted by a loud bang and scratching right behind the stage. We were fairly certain that there was an animal or something trying to get in, and then we went into that back door afterwards, and there's like an entire grate behind that door, and we could not debunk it. We tried hard and still don't know what it was, but it was in that same location. Okay, well, let's see what we've got coming up here next. I think just one or two more. Okay, this is the clip, Beaker, that you sent me last night. Now, I think you said this was not your video, but this was downstairs in the basement while you guys were investigating.
So this is actually the projection room. And this is video from DVO's phone.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes more sense. Anything else you want to tee up with it, or should we let it run?
We can just let it run. This, like I said, this is during when I was doing the Estes method. I had the headphones and the blindfold on, and this is after, like I said, I don't know where I cut out earlier, but this is shortly after DVO showed up during my session.
Okay, perfect.
Tell me the name of the spirit that's at the bottom of these stairs. I know it's not the devil.
Yeah.
Who stays down here? Trying to come up here?
Steven?
No, Steven is? Jimmy Cruz? You heard that? Knocking? Yeah. Steven, is that you knocking on the wall? I heard there's a knocker. Is that your name? I can hear you too. Steven, did you die of an overdose?
Too many lots.
Too many lots. Did you have one too many?
Respect.
Well, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just trying to ask you. Did you die of an overdose? Or are you right here next to me?
It's coming up here.
I think you deserve that.
Are you right here?
Just once.
Are you on my right? arm next to my right arm.
I heard that.
Are you the one that does all the knocking? Is your name Steven? That one.
Danger.
Who's a danger? Is somebody moving? He is. Who's?
So I do think I hear something towards the end. I put in the tags on the bottom just based off what I felt I heard. You had mentioned maybe there was a woman moaning, so I thought I heard it. But for Beaker and Ghosty, what stood out to you guys in that clip?
So I definitely heard the knocking, and it almost sounded like you called it out at that one point where it was like 3 quick knocks. Before that, it almost sounded like there was also 3 knocks that were kind of spread apart. So in that clip, it sounded like there was knocking multiple times. I still can't hear the moan, but I know DVO and Ghostio can hear it. Ghostio, Ghosty can hear it.
I remember the knocking happening because it was against the wall that I was standing on against, and that wall went down the stairs to that basement portion that from the projector room, and that's where I was kind of talking down towards, so he couldn't hear my voice. So that's why I was trying to like muffle my voice and talk away from him at the same time. And some of those things, like when he got the name Steven, I know when I was doing the SS method, I ended up saying the name Steve or Steven at least 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, you did.
And so I was picking up on something already. He was already trying to make communication with us, and then it sounded more so when Beaker was in the Estes method.
Yeah, and Paul comments that it almost sounded like a cabinet door, and I could get that, with the three knocks just kind of opening and boom, boom.
Well, and there's cabinets right there in the office as well, so it's very possible.
Yeah, it could be something that we have not seen there are objects moving. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys have in your investigations there, but that would have been a unique capture for us. Yeah,
we didn't see objects move, but we did see your light strand go off. That you had your string of lights.
Yeah, that's lights. Right. Yeah,
on the stage, and we saw that go off when we were like getting ready to clean up.
That's true, and that brings to a good point. The main theater, I'm really kind of frustrated with myself on the video of that, to be perfectly frank. There wasn't enough light to make good, meaningful video. We had the laser grid set up. I was really hoping that we would capture, a shadow or something walking by there to trip that. And that part just didn't get there. But otherwise, we didn't have a lot of good evidence from there. Yeah, and we do have someone else who could hear the moan as well as a female whisper. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
And it's definitely there because you can hear DVO or Ghosty, one of the two in the clip, say, "Did you hear that moan?" So, I mean, there was definitely a sound there. I can't hear it, but I'd have to probably go back and listen to it again. But I definitely hear the knocking. And I think I got cut off earlier before I had a chance to comment on the one clips where you were in the theater by yourself. Yeah. At the very end, it looked like there was a face just off to the side of you.
Oh, I see. Back when you said when I was in the theater by myself?
Yeah, when you're in theater 2 by yourself, I mentioned that there was like someone 2 seats behind you. The very end of that clip, it almost looked like there was a face just off to like the left of your face.
I'll have to go back and look again. And again, it fully supports all the feels throughout there as well. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so from a clip standpoint, that's everything we had. Now, we did a post live stream investigation down in the basement. That footage completely gone. Like, it's nowhere on my GoPro, wasn't on my phone. We were down there for maybe 5 minutes. I think Jason, Jamie, and we heard a loud bang upstairs, which I think ultimately might have been DVO coming in a door. I really wish that we had it. I have no idea where the footage went, and it may have just not saved. Certainly wouldn't be the first time that we had equipment malfunction during an investigation.
Could have been the usher that was upset. I know that at one point towards the beginning of the night, y'all went down into the basement, and there was an usher, a spirit of an usher that actually came and talked to LaDon and myself and let us know that he was actually upset. It was telling us that y'all weren't supposed to be down there, because I guess the owners had been in before we were there.
They were supposed to lock
they
the
were supposed to,
basement.
yeah, they were supposed to lock the basement. It wasn't supposed to be unlocked. So Ladon is also a medium for those that don't know. And yeah, we had the spirit come, and he was very angry that
We were
in the basement.
we were getting cussed at, if you remember, when we were down in the basement.
I remember you saying that. Yep.
Yeah, we were getting cussed at over the equipment.
And the turnaround time for this edit. So we've been doing these paranormal experiences one week after another. And so there is a bit of a time crunch for me to edit these videos. And I was scrambling like crazy over the past week trying to find the footage. And I'm fairly organized with keeping track of all of these things, and it just doesn't exist. That would be one possible solution for it, for sure.
No, it's the only solution. We'll blame it on the ghost.
Yeah. Was there any recordings from that moment when we went down there and near the beginning and we're getting the swear words coming through?
Jason was. You were down
Yeah,
there.
Jason.
Yeah, I was there.
Was any of that recorded? Did any of that save?
Not that I remember.
I don't think you had the camera. I think Jamie and I
no.
had the camera upstairs because that was pre-live stream.
Yeah,
And
that
so
was
I
the
getting
very
live
beginning.
stream. Yeah. So I don't think that we had any of that either.
Oh, damn.
I don't think we did.
Yeah.
Let's blame it on the ghosts. Damn.
Yeah, I like that. Takes the pressure off me for not having
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Well,
Not
one
your
thing
fault
that
at all.
that we do kind of as we begin to wrap up at least the investigation footage, we like to do a little diagnosis as a spinoff on the Dr. Ghost Hunters thing of what we think the diagnosis of this place of. Is it haunted? Is there something else going on? We've kind of said our thoughts about the Ritz Theater before. If you want to catch those, please go be sure to check out our other YouTube channel where we've done it. But Ghosty Beaker, guys, diagnosis on the Ritz Theater.
Not haunted.
I'm gonna say haunted.
It's very haunted. And it's interesting because every time we went, probably like 3 or 4 times last year, and every time there was new spirits there, and there were spirits that had left, so it was like a revolving door of spirits coming through there.
I mean, the whole main street is spooky as hell.
It is, yeah, it really is, and not just because it's Tooele, like it is spooky.
Well, the asylum's just up the road, so
yes, it
not too
is
far.
true.
Exactly.
and that cemetery is right there with it.
Yep.
Certainly supports the theory that there are portals there. Like in trying to do research on the place, we tend, I think it's our human nature to tend to put things into logical categories as to why a place would be haunted, whether there was death or tragedy or something else going on, and it just doesn't exist that I could find at that location. The portal theory sure stands out. Beaker, you showed me a trick in the cry room of how you could determine if with crystal if a place has a portal or not. And
Yeah, I showed you.
I'm buying into that.
I showed you using a pendulum, and
Yes.
I showed you like holding the pendulum outside of the cry room, and it didn't do anything. We took it in the cry room, and it started spinning in a circle. And what I thought was interesting, Ladon actually pointed out as we stepped out of the cry room, the cat balls started going off.
Oh, I see.
Interesting.
Yeah, it would
You
absolutely.
guys let in some ghosts, damn it.
No swearing.
That's up for the new owners to take care of now.
Yeah, leave it up to the new owners.
That's
So
all.
there's you know what though? Every time we went there, it was always different spirits that we interacted with.
But definitely haunted.
Definitely haunted.
Yeah, definitely haunted.
I know of, it was interesting. The first time I ever went there, the way Ladon worked, she was the lady that ran the Ritz investigations. She would not tell anybody anything about the place. She wanted everyone to figure out everything on their own. Right. And there was 2 things that I pointed out to her before she did her like evidence reveal to us. That I sensed that there was like some trauma that went on in the basement, a very traumatic event. And then I said there was also something that rhymes with grape that happened in the projection room. And she confirmed both of those things and said that in the like 15 plus years that she'd been doing investigations there, that I was the first person to pick up on either one of those things.
Interesting.
So there is some tragic events that happened there that they're just not documented.
Yeah. That's the key. Gosh. Well, guys, before we wrap up, that was a blast. We certainly enjoyed getting to see your paranormal investigation style, and that was, one reason to pair up, and also just to see what we could capture there. And we had such a good time. We'll tease this just a little bit that we're going to plan on doing it all again this June, right?
Yes,
I'm down. I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll
we've
see what
got
I can do. It's a weekend I
location.
work. I'll try to get it off, and I want to investigate with in there and make her a believer, because there's so much that happens in the paranormal that I've seen over the last 10 years. It's just really hard to be skeptical about this stuff. And I think if she comes and investigates with us, like if we should mix it up a little bit and have like half of our team, the three of us, like go with you guys, because when we investigated, we kind of did like everyone together, and then we just split up. You guys did your thing, we did our thing. But I think if we do it again, we should kind of mix up the teams a little bit. So you know,
team swap.
Yes, team swap.
Yes.
We'll bring our pineapples and put them upside down, and do some swapping on the investigation.
I haven't seen Sarah's cheeks go that red in quite some time. You know, it's funny that you say that. We actually were talking about that ahead of time, that it would be great to be able to learn a bit more and do that. So
thank you, Jesse.
We're fully on board. So everyone, please be sure, we'll make sure that we live stream that investigation as well. So turn on your subscriptions and notifications. And while you're at it, go ahead and like this if you like what you're seeing. Guys, before we let you go, we want to give you the floor to promote your podcast a bit and what you guys are doing. So as I pad for probably just another 5 seconds or so, the floor will be yours. So go ahead.
Okay, so we are the EVP Podcast, like it says on the corner there for us. We have been doing this podcast for 3 years, just over 3 years, last month, actually. We cover everything in the paranormal, the supernatural, from ghosts or haunted locations. Lately, Ghosty's been on this weird kick where he wants to keep talking about aliens. But we'll cover everything. We actually just did an episode on Mothman, so we cover cryptids as well. And it's a lot of fun. We enjoy what we do.
Yeah.
And we enjoy
the laughs.
Honestly, like with this podcast, because this is my second podcast. I used to do a previous one, and I've met a lot of cool people in the last 3 years, including you guys. I think you're my new favorite team besides ours to work with. I'm sorry, Paul, but we've met a lot of cool groups doing this, and it's just interesting how you all are finding us. Like, we're not finding you. Like every team that we've worked with in the last 3 years, the algorithm has just worked its magic and has put people in touch with us. So I'm actually really thankful for this podcast, because without it, I probably wouldn't have met you guys, and you're a great team to work with.
Yeah, well, we certainly appreciate it. The feeling is mutual. That's for sure. Ghosty, any thoughts from you before you head out?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for tuning in to you guys, and it was awesome meeting you guys and finally getting to work together, and looking forward to doing more ghost hunts in the future, because this is going to be awesome, and see where we can take this.
I agree. I completely agree. All right, guys, we're going to let you go. Thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, no
all right.
Thanks
also
for
don't play that.
Peace out, butterflies.
Butterflies.
All right, guys, just a couple of housekeeping things. That was great having them on.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. I'm really looking forward to our next investigation with them. Each time that we collaborate with someone, whether it was Vinny from Arizona Piers, or whether it's with these guys or anyone else, I always feel like I learned something and can add that on with growth. Jamie, Beaker is going to make a believer out of you. I've tried hard for a year and haven't been able to do it. Maybe we just need someone else to get you to buy into this.
Okay, well, between him and Elsie, we'll see.
Well, when you're sleeping in the pink room at Bethany's Home Sweet Haunted Home, things start crawling out of the mirror like it's The Grudge or The Ring. You can still tell me that you are a disbeliever, but
we're going to levitating over the bed.
We may have to question our friendship at this point. But just a few remaining things here before that aforementioned tease of an investigation again with the guys from the EVP podcast. We do have our investigation coming up at Petite Neat. Coming up here in just a couple of weeks. This will be a live stream, one of the most haunted locations, of course, that we feel that we have been to in Utah, and we will be right back there. That is going to be an 8:00 Mountain Time start, I believe, on Saturday, March 30th. We're going to live stream it. We are going to be upstairs in the war room. There are pieces of war memorabilia that are undoubtedly haunted. And so we'll be excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. Again, we've talked about this before, as you know, this isn't necessarily like the physical world where things always happen consistently, but I'm interested to see what sort of things we can replicate in that war room again.
Yeah, it really will be with attachments or haunted objects, is there the same level of being able to replicate things that you and I always desire? And we constantly have to remind ourselves that that's not how the paranormal works.
Yeah.
What's it going to be like for this? And that's a big question for me that I really hope that maybe we can get some insight on. I don't know that we're going to have an answer for it.
Yeah. Start you on a statin too, so the chest pain we can rule out.
It was real. That
Angina.
chest pain was real. We also here, let's see if I can get this pulled up in some sort of reasonable manner. Maybe not. Wait for it. And no, it's not going to pull up, and that's okay. We do want to remind people that if they want to get 10% off their paranormal items, they can go to ghosthuntersoutlet.org. Enter promo code DGH for 10% off all of your paranormal gear. Of course, that came through the group that Vinny ran down there in Arizona. I am going to be down in Arizona for a conference later this year. I really want you to come down there with me. Let's go back to that jail.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. We got this thing called work that sometimes gets it away and might be a little bit tricky, but we're going to see if we can go ahead and do that. We are going to need a winner for the mug. So Jamie and Sarah in the background, if you can go ahead and get that lined up. Jason, one more call for one of our investigations. You got an announcement as well? Costume for me?
We still need to decide on a costume for Chad. The Good News Lions extended their coach's contract today. So thank you to the Lions.
I lost the bet. And so just a reminder, if people have not seen this before, Jason and I had a little friendly side bet, something that we have been doing back since medical school, almost 15 years ago.
Yeah,
I don't even want to say how long it's been. I lost a bet. As part of this, we like to punish the other. So part of the punishment is with one of our big investigations coming up that, again, we have not announced. So as you're starting to see here, you're going to continue to get content from us that you are going to be punishing me with some sort of costume, perhaps while in isolation somewhere.
Yeah. By yourself in a dark area for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So possible ideas, bunnies, King Triton. I mean, there's anything along those lines.
It sounds like you're just going for embarrassment. That's what this sounds
Trying to get the spirits out.
Yeah, I see. All right. Well, we do have a winner of our mug, our Dr. Ghost Hunters mug. These things have been a social media hit. People have been loving these. Our production department is doing an excellent job of getting these out. I love them. And of course, Jesse Peterson, our commenter of the day. So Jesse, congratulations on the winner of the mug. Jesse, if you can reach out to us through any of our social medias, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or even just, oh gosh, Elsie, the brothel dress. But Jesse, going back, or even our email address, which is drghosthunterslc@gmail.com. Then you guys are really taking this thing seriously, this embarrassment thing.
Thank you, Bob. Rory.
Oh gosh. You think I would learn my lesson after 15 years of betting with you, and I just don't. I can't resist.
Don't bet against the Lions, at least last year.
But Jesse, reach out to us, get us a shipping address, and we'll make sure to get that mug out. Of course, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for commenting. So everyone, that wraps up this segment of Paranormal Experience, guys. This is kind of this little mini season that we did. Something new, something hopefully innovative, and something that we hope you enjoyed. If you've enjoyed these paranormal experiences, I know we sure have. We've worked our butts off to put them out for you each and every single week. But if you like them, please go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, notify, and tell your friends, right? Let's get them a mug.
Yep. And if you enjoyed this, there's also some shorts out that we put from the videos, kind of some outtakes. Yes. Make sure to visit those. Those are pretty good.
All the paranormal content that you could ever want. We hope you get it from right here. For the ladies, for the queens, Jamie and Sarah, ladies, thanks for being here. For Dr. Jason, I'm Dr. Chad. Go ahead and see you guys in a couple weeks for that live stream.
Yep.
Make that thing levitate.
Yes.
And knock Jamie right in the head. That would be ideal. Yay!
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dr. Chow. Happy birthday to you.
Yay!
It's okay. It's all right. You know what? If you really just want to drop it in. Sake. I did say to the waitress that we weren't going to be obnoxious. But just that once. Oh my god, that's terrible. Alright, happy birthday!
Alright.
Happy birthday to you! Jamie's favorite thing ever. It is. I love it. I love being
Make sure you get all of the candles on the first try.
Get her a 5
Oh,